Hi guys, it's Daniela again and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hello. For today's video, I'm going to revisit my 2018 yearly favourites. The reason why I'm doing my 2018 and not 19 is because my 2019 favourites are so similar to the products that I'm using today in 2020. I don't know if you kind of noticed, but there's a pandemic going around, so like I haven't been wearing that much makeup, and the products I have been using this year, most of them are products I've either mentioned a lot on my channel or I even mentioned in my 2019 favourites. So I watched my 2018 favourites and I saw a lot of products that I just don't use as much nowadays, or some I've actually declined. So I thought, let me take it back a little bit. Let me revisit my 2018 favourites when there wasn't a global pandemic going on. So yeah, for today's video, I'm going to be revisiting my 2018 favourites and letting you know how I feel about them in 2020. So yeah, I really hope you're excited about this video, and let's get started. So for primer, the primer that I mentioned in my video was the PS Strobing Light Cream. I actually don't have that anymore. I decluttered it ages ago. I didn't declutter it because I didn't like it. I just got rid of it because I didn't use it. So I'm just going to go in with the Stila One Step Corrector primer because I'm trying to use this up. I think I just used it up. Just going to go in with the L'Oreal Lumi Magique primer. I haven't used this in so long. This is really old and this was a favourite like a while ago. I'm just going to use it just because I did mention like a glowy primer, and the Stila one's not really glowy. The full corrector, I mentioned two. I mentioned the e.l.f. corrector and the Urban Decay one. I'm going to use the e.l.f. one just because I haven't opened this one up yet, and I don't want to open it up until I've used the Becca one up. I haven't used this in so long because I've been using my Becca one. I like it. I just don't think orange is the shade for me in corrector. I might be wrong. I just don't see a massive difference. I see a difference when I'm wearing like pink corrector. I actually mentioned that in my 2018 video that like the e.l.f. one isn't as brightening as the Urban Decay one, and I think it's because the Urban Decay one is pink, so I still stand by that statement. So for foundation, I ended up mentioning these three here. So this is the Maybelline Superstay foundation, which has been a favourite since like I bought it. I love this foundation. And then I mentioned the L'Oreal Infallible Stick Foundation and the Revolution Stick Foundation. I'm actually going to go in with the Maybelline one. This is honestly a favourite foundation, and I think I'm always going to have it in my collection. Like, I generally think everyone should try this foundation, especially if you have oily skin. I don't know how you'd feel about it if you have like dry skin, but if you have oily skin, I think it's stunning. I love the coverage. I love how long lasting it is on me, and my skin looks really flawless when I'm wearing it. So I honestly love this foundation. So just for shits and giggles, I'm just going to go in with the Revolution one, just on like my cheek area. And I'm going to go over it with my beauty blender. See that colour corrector? I don't feel like it's done anything around my mouth. Going back to the foundations, Maybelline is definitely still a favourite. Revolution isn't a favourite as much as it used to be. It's kind of been pushed to the side. If I want a dewy foundation now, I usually use my Flower Beauty, my Misha BB cream. So I don't usually go in with my stick foundation from Revolution, nor my L'Oreal one. So yeah, the stick foundations, they're okay, but they're definitely not up there my favourites. I definitely have replaced them. For concealer, I mentioned the Revolution concealer. I don't have it anymore. I think I either decluttered it. I'm sure I used one up and then I decluttered the other one that I had, or maybe I just decluttered both of them. I don't have it anymore. I also mentioned my Tarte Shape Tape, so I'm going to use that. If I'm honest, Tarte Shape Tape has definitely been replaced. So I know for a fact that once I use this one up, I won't be repurchasing it. And the Revolution one, I haven't bought in ages. They're definitely not my favourites anymore, and I have replaced them. And if you want to know what I replace them with, you have to watch my 2020 favourites, which should be coming up soon. Obviously, Tarte Shape Tape's not a bad concealer, but it doesn't compare to the ones I have now, and I just much prefer the ones I have now. For powder, I mentioned RCMA No Colour Powder. I haven't used this in so long. I also mentioned my Cover FX one, which I used recently because I'm trying to use it up. I haven't used this in so long, and the reason is because, to be honest, when I'm wearing makeup, I need it to last. And I know with my Laura Mercier, that's the case. Like, I know it's going to make my makeup last. So yeah, the Laura Mercier one has definitely replaced the RCMA one. I still do like the RCMA one, but obviously it's really messy as well and it gets everywhere because it's so finely milled. So I just don't reach for it as much. For setting spray, I mentioned the Kat Von D, which is this one here, which is the one I'm going to use. So yeah, with the Kat Von D setting spray, I still really like it. I used it recently because I am trying to use it up, but before then I hadn't used it in a while. There's no particular reason why, I just haven't. And yeah, I still really like it. My next product that I mentioned was this one here. So this is by Benefit. This is the Cheap Parade palette. I don't use it as much now, not because I don't like it or nothing, just because it is a lot bigger and a lot like chunkier, but I still really like it. I know I used this not too long ago. I still really like it. I like all the powders in there. It's not a product that's been replaced because it's a bad product. It's just been replaced because my other face palettes are much more accessible than this one, if that makes sense, because this one's so much bigger. Another bronzer I mentioned in that video was my Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. I love this bronzer. I know I'm going to have this in my collection forever. I still use it to this day. I just love it. I love mixing in like a lot of bronzers together because I feel like every bronzer has a different tone, and I love bronzer. It's probably like my favourite part of my makeup is bronzer. Actually, foundation and bronzer. For blush, I mentioned the Morphe 9B palette. This has actually been discontinued, so you can't get it anymore. It's not one that I use as much as I used to, just because if I'm using like a face palette, it usually has like a blush in there. And if I'm going into the Morphe one, I'm only going in for blushes, if that makes sense. So I don't use it as much, but I still use it, if that makes sense. It's not like one that I have replaced. So for highlighter, I mentioned the Soap and Revolution palette. I still really like this palette. It's still one of my favourites. I would actually say it is one of the best like drugstore formulas, if I'm honest. I still really like it. I think she's done a really good job of it. I feel like this is a very staple product. Like it's a product that I feel like if Revolution keeps making, people are going to keep buying. Another highlight that I mentioned in my 2018 favourites is a palette by Primark that I no longer have. I decluttered that ages ago as well. For brows, I mentioned the Brow Artist Plumper by L'Oreal, which is still one of my favourites today. And I also mentioned my Skinny Brow Pencil by Primark. I still love it. I still use it. I can't find it anymore, which is such a shame because I really do love this brow pencil. But yeah, those brow products are still like in my collection. I still use them. I still love them. They have not been replaced. I have been enjoying the new Primark one that I tried recently, but I wouldn't say it's replaced this one. Now I'm just going with my Brow Artist Plumper. I still love this thing. I still use it a lot. I haven't replaced this at all. So yeah, this is still a favourite after 2 years. So for eyeshadow palettes, I mentioned a lot. I mentioned the NYX Bright palette, which I still love. I still use. It's my go-to like colourful palette. I mentioned the Life the Drag palette. I still really like it. Still use it. I mentioned the Dose of Colours Katie and Desi one. I still love that thing. I've mentioned it so much on my channel. I mentioned the Jaclyn Hill palette. I still really like it. There was a period of time where I hadn't used it in a while, and then I brought it back out and I really have been liking using it. I also mentioned the Extra Spice palette by Sophie and Revolution. I haven't used this palette in a while. It's just not one that I reach for as much as the others, and there's no like reasoning for it. I just honestly, I don't know why, I just don't reach for it. I'm going to do a look with it today. I'm going to keep it pretty simple just because I do have like my base on already. So I just went in with the colour Cookie Dough, literally all over my lid and now on my what's this called again? Lash line. I also mentioned this one from Revolution. This is the Reloaded Iconic Division one. This one is one that I really like as well, but I don't use it as much. I think it's one that I use a lot more in the winter time than in the summer or spring. So I'm going to go in with this colour here from the Revolution palette. I'm only using it because it's in front of me and I would like to use it. And I'm just hopefully not going to get fallout. I'm just doing that colour on my lower lash line as well. I quite like this. I don't usually do like all over dark colours. So in my video I mentioned eyeliners and they're both from Essence. I still love them. I still use them. They're still my actual eyeliners that I used when I want to wear eyeliner. This is by Essence. It's called Hot Chocolate. I still love this. It's such a beautiful colour. I really like this formula. Okay, maybe I went too ham with that brown on my lower lash line, because my lower lash line looks a lot darker than my upper lash line now. Okay. I low-key feel like Uncle Fester. So I'm just going to go off camera, do my mascara, and then I'll come back and do my lips with you guys. I'm back. So as you can see, I did mascara off camera. I just used the two mascaras I'm trying to use, which is the Essence I Love Extreme Crazy Volume and the Maybelline Lash Sensational. So for lip liners, I obviously mentioned my NYX lip liners, which I still love. But I actually mentioned two colours that I don't use as much now, which is Natural and, let's see if I can say it, Nude Suede Shoes. I haven't really been using these two, not because I don't like them, just because I have been reaching for more brown lip liners. So I actually prefer the 90s lip nowadays to this kind of lip liner where it's similar to my actual lip line and to my actual lip colour. So yeah, I don't use them as much, but obviously you can see I have loved this a lot. So for lipstick, I mentioned the Smashbox lipsticks in Got a Light and Fair Game. I am actually planning to throw these away my next declar because these are like just old and they're just dried up. Another lipstick I mentioned was by Morphe, which is called Virgin. I'm just going to place this on the inside of my lips just because I need some like lightness. I haven't used this one in a while actually as well. Not for any particular reason, just because I don't really use matte liquid lipsticks as much as I used to. I much prefer my lipsticks. So for lip gloss, I mentioned the Essence lip gloss, which we all know I love. The Dose of Colours lip gloss, which I love as well. I also mentioned the Morphe Flower Crown lip gloss. I still really like it, still use it. And yeah, so I mentioned all lip glosses that I still really like and still use to this day. So for today's look, I'm actually going to go in with Morphe Flower Crown. This one is almost at the end as well. I'm using this one because it's a little bit lighter. So guys, this is the makeup that I created using my 2018 favourite. The majority of the products that I use today, I still really enjoy, I still really like. They're still products that I reach for and I love 2 years on. And yeah, like there's been a few that I've replaced, but not that many. So yeah, I really like the makeup look that I created today. I knew that I would like the look that I created anyways, because I knew most of the products that I was using I really like, I still use. There's nothing like bad about any of these products. So yeah guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd love for you to subscribe, like the video if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.